Hello, everybody. Welcome to the DSA Roundtable tonight. I know it's election night. Everybody's out there doing what they're doing, but we have a show for you tonight. And I want to bring in my good friend, Luke G. What's up, Luke?
Hey, salute to those who's out there voting right now. I know everybody's busy doing everything, but hopefully this roundtable can kind of be like your radio while you're waiting in those lines. And if you have already voted and you are here, give yourself a pat on the back and a thumbs up in the chat, man. So just want to let you know, exercise your power that you have.
That's right. That's right. Alex Lafrancois says, not sure how to quantify being run over in the fourth quarter. How many times this year our defense quite simply can't make halftime adjustments, but cannot hold it together for two quarters? I know it's really bad right now. It just is.
Right.
We're going to go to the questions today, and let's get to the first one. First one is this. Do you think Kenny Gallady is faking an injury to help his contract negotiations? What do you think, Luke?
You know, honestly, I know that fans are going to feel like he is doing it. And if he is, he's a freaking genius. He won't be the first one to do this. Quite a few people have done it. But what they're starting to realize is this, that a lot of these teams are using the franchise tag as a contract replacement, where it was originally used to buy you more time to iron out a contract. They're now just saying, nope, this is going to be your contract. And if I'm him, looking at the top 5 highest paid receivers right now currently in the NFL and looking at where he's going to get, I'm not going to take that risk of playing in the game knowing that this is the outcome. Plus, let's go back and look through just the most recent history. Dak Prescott playing on the franchise tag, didn't get the contract that he wanted because the team used it as a contract. And what happened? He gets injured for the season, a gruesome injury, and now they probably still not going to pay him the way that he want to be paid. Go back a few years before that, the same thing happened with the Seattle Seahawks and Earl Thomas. And so you see this trend where these players who are in contract years are getting hurt. So to me, if he's not doing it, I'm shocked.
I don't think he is. Had Dr. Jimmy, he comes on my show. He looked at it. He's looked at the film and said he believes it's a legit injury. He said it was a 2 to 3 week injury when he said it. That was a couple of days ago, I think, Monday. And then, and it comes out that's the way it is. If he was going to do that, why not just sit out the game and say, I'm holding out for a contract, or I got hurt in practice? Why even suit up, go out there, and go 0 for 4?
Because the new CBA say that the team can now find you for those games that you missed for holding out. That's what they agreed to in their new CBA.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have had to do that. He would have just said, I got injured in practice. He would have never had to got to the game.
True, but isn't it better to prove a point when you can show the team that without me, you're not going to win? So, see what happens when I'm in? So, I mean, it's listen, do I think he's hurt? Yes. Do I trust the doctor that you had on the show? Yes. Do I believe that this is also a negotiating tactic? Yes. He's been hurt. Yeah. Players play hurt all the time. I just don't think he has that desire to do it anymore.
That's possible. I wouldn't doubt it, but he was limping. We did show video where he pulled up and he started trying to flex that hip during the game. So I don't know. And that could be for show. I ain't going to say it's not because I don't know. Do the Lions franchise tag Kenny Gallady versus signing him long-term? This really depends. I'll go first. I think this depends on who the GM is.
Good point. That's a very good point. And I can see that being a point, but I also can see it just being a business decision. It's rumored that this upcoming year's contract negotiations, not contract, but the cap year is uncertain. We don't know if it's going up or if it's going down. It's been going up this entire time.
It's been rumored it's $195 million at this point.
195. So what was it just last year? It was 181 or 170 something.
Yeah, I thought it was lower, and that would amaze me if that's true because it went up quite a bit, and I did not see that happening. So we'll have to see when the real numbers come out. But I understand that, and the franchise tag for Kenny Gallady is anywhere from 15 to 18, and he may be wanting upwards of 18 right now. We might actually save $3 million by doing the franchise tag.
Which is what I'm saying. So if I can see a scenario where the Lions literally look at Kenny Gallady and say, hey, cost-wise, it's better to franchise tag him right now for this year. And then if he do it, then we'll pay him. But to me, I think if they play that game, similar to what happened to Ngakoue and some of these other players who like basically just said, I'm going to hold out as long as possible. They just said, forget it. We can see who got the strength longer, and they end up eventually having to trade Ngakoue. So my thing is this: if the Lions were going to play this game with him, then they should have just traded him.
Yeah. I'm going to shout out some people in the chat right now. Alex LaFrancois, thanks for rocking with us. Troy Thibodeau, Elijah Bauer, Guman, and Detroit Drew. What's up, man? What's up, everybody in the chat? Thank you for rocking with us. Like the video. Really appreciate you being here with us today. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree with you on the long-term deal. Even on a long-term deal, I think they would save more money in the first year because they could backload it. But given the uncertainty of COVID-19 and all that, I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that at this point.
And also keep in mind that with Kenny Gallady, I hate to say this, but receivers are expendable. Like if you're telling me that Kenny Gallady is a generational talent and that he's going to be one of those people who, no matter what, he's gonna play to a level in the Hall of Fame that no other has played in, then cool. I don't see that being the case. I really don't. But is he a very good player? Yes. And I think the Lions got to make the best move possible. As far as I'm concerned, nobody is safe when it comes to this team.
We're going to add somebody on the panel today. What's up, Detroit Drew?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I can only be on, but I figured I'd come on and say what's up.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Drew?
Good to be here, man.
Drew, did you go out and exercise that beautiful power of voting?
Oh, you know this, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Really wanted to write in the Rock so bad because
me too.
I don't like either of these candidates.
He goes to Russia, right? And then he goes to Putin, and Putin's like, "Hi, my name is." It doesn't matter what your name is.
But Drew, man, obviously we're talking some Detroit Lions. What do you think? We're talking about the Kenny Gallady contract situation. Is he faking his injury? Are they going to franchise tag him? What do you think?
I don't want to say he's faking an injury because I don't know. And I've watched the play he said he got hurt on, and I really didn't see a whole lot that really would have caused an injury there. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel what his body went through. So I can't attest to that, and I hope he's not faking it. All I do know is if you franchise tag this guy, he is not going to be happy. Very rarely does that work where players are happy with it. You can look at Kirk Cousins when he kept getting franchise tag in Washington. He ended up leaving and got paid by Minnesota. Hasn't translated to wins, but players don't like being franchise tag. Le'Veon Bell's another one. You don't want to do it to your star player. If you're not committed to him, you should have traded him at the deadline. If you don't want to pay him, now you're going to have to give him the bucks, or else he's going to walk for Jack Diddley squat. So, the franchise tag only works for so long, and he won't like it. So, sign him or trade him. Those are your options.
Old-timer Dave says 2021 cap is going to be $175 million. That makes more sense to me. Okay, it's going down.
175. Okay, I thought it was like 171 or 180 something this season, but 175
for this season.
198. Okay, all right. So if it's going down, then they should have traded him. Like I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but like to me, during the time where we had to figure out between Stafford, Sue, and Calvin, I was like, Calvin gets you the most in return. Trade him. Like, I agree. Everything has a price, and I think people need to stop falling in love with the player and understand that this thing is won by a team. It really is.
Well,
I also. Go ahead,
we
Drew.
haven't done so far is because we don't know what our front office or coaching staff is going to look like next year.
Well, but if they're trying to save their jobs, they should be trying to keep talent here. I was talking to the Hood Cam. Shout out to the Hood Cam. He has sent me a message, and he has said, I think that there could be a trade between New England and Detroit. And I said, well, what are you talking about? He said, I think that New England would like send like Detroit Stephon Gilmore in exchange for a second and Marvin Jones. And I told him if they do that, then I 100% believe that Bob Quinn is setting up his next employer. I believe that
too.
If they would have did that, he was setting up his next employer. And so, you know, the reality is this: you got to keep your people, the homegrown talent. You got to keep them. Period.
Here's my take on this situation. I think that there's going to be a new regime next year. I think we're going to have to rebuild the defense because that defense won't be something they can use. At least most of it won't be. So there's a rebuild there. And I think I would rather use that money on the defense, defensive line, linebackers, than I would on a wide receiver. That's just the way I feel about how things should be built. So I would have traded him. That would have been my thing. But the problem is we have lame duck people in there, and that's what I believe. And I think that next year they're going to have to start over, and it's going to be a really hard thing the first couple of years.
I agree. I agree. I mean, just imagine if they did trade him at this deadline, or you know, and let's say that they just went on and said, you know what, we conceded. We're going to concede this season and get this team set up and explain to them the following, but that won't be the case. If they
were going full rebuild, though, they missed their target. Like, this would have been the perfect opportunity to do a rebuild after Dak went down. Unfortunately, you could have traded Stafford to the Cowgirls. You could have moved on from Kenny G if you wanted to, or you could have put your money back into him now that Stafford's off the books. I mean, there's several players on this team that would have some trade value. Yeah, you're not all going to get first-rounders for them, but you could at least got some draft picks, seconds and thirds.
Well, again, this is one of the reasons why that Everson Griffin trade to me was just stupid. It did not change nothing. It changed absolutely nothing. It did not change nothing. And at the end of the year, we're going to pay a guy for a 9-game rental. And when that's all said and done, which is crazy because if he balls out, now you got to keep him, right? Like you can't let a guy who balls out not. Like I said,
that also, like I said, it depends on who comes in next year, what their concept is, what their scheme is, how he fits that. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a huge turnover on the defense. I really do. I don't think the offense will turn over as much as the defense will, but like I said, that's who you bring in, you know. But this is a really slow defense, and I think that's something that's not in the NFL right now. So I think most people would change that.
Especially with mobile quarterbacks.
Absolutely. Do you believe that Quinn and Patricia are using the IR as a weapon to keep their jobs? What do you think about that, Drew?
I like conspiracy theories as much as the next guy, but we did this last year. You can't keep doing it. I don't really know, man. It's so stupid that this is what we have to come to think about this because we've seen them do it before. I think it's too early to start pulling that card. I think the people who are actually on IR are actually hurt because right now you're only one game below 500. Why would you put some of your players on IR right now? Like, it wouldn't make any sense. But again, I have seen from this front office very much so a lack of sense. So I'm not going to put it past them. I just think it's a little too soon for them to start doing that.
Well, Drew, you're better than me because I 1,000,000,000% believe that that's exactly what they're doing.
Better than you. I didn't say
Hey, listen, I have no problem. I'm just saying, it's just, listen, this is what they do. They start off with the soft stuff. So, yeah, there could be people who's hurt, but then they're going to start putting people on there for all type of reasons. And they even use this when they explained to the ticket holders that, yeah, we had a significant number of injuries, but we were competitive in these games. This is what they was telling season ticket holders. And to me, they did the same stuff last year, you know, putting people on there with bum fingers and thumbs, putting people on there with bum ankle injuries. And I'm like, come on, man, it ain't that severe. Come on. Like, you just the whole season. And I think they're using this as another excuse to add on to the thing that, look, we were close, you know, but guess what? We started getting banged up down the stretch. No. Over the next few weeks, let's watch how many people get put on that injury list and how many people they add to the IR. Because I'm under the belief that that's exactly what they're doing.
I think Big V is going to be added to that list too with a foot injury. Just watch that tomorrow. But I have a different take on this. I think it's different this year because of the short-term IR, and they've used that quite a bit this year. They're only putting Flowers on a three-game IR, so he'll be back within 4 probably games. So it's different than saying, okay, I got all these guys out for the year, because that's the way it was before. Or long-term IR where they're gone for most of the season. You get them back like 1 game or 2 games. It's kind of insignificant then. I think this is a different year. I think that they have that short-term IR. We only had Coleman on the long-term IR and Austin Bryant, I believe, that I'm aware of. So I don't know if they can use that as an excuse. I don't think there are any excuses this year. I think you got to be close to the playoffs. But in my opinion, I'm starting to be more with Luke on this than anyone else, because of the fact that I don't care if we're going to back into the playoffs and get pummeled by a number 1 team. That is not a contender to me, and that's what they were here to build.
And plus, I want to add to this to say this: if you just go through and look at it from a standpoint of, if I have players who are out doing some of our significant games down the stretch that we lose, then guess what? That's an excuse. So, like, for example, if they go out there and stink it up against the Minnesota Vikings, they could then turn around and say, yeah, but we didn't have Trey Flowers. And, oh, yeah, this guy was hurt. And, oh, yeah, that guy was hurt. And, oh, yeah, this and that. And it's just, to me, I see a bunch of open-ended excuses that they will use without hesitation, without apology, to keep their jobs.
Do you think that'll work, Drew?
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not there in the office. I know.
No, what was that?
Because here's my problem: is I try to put common sense into everything, but then we're talking.
Oh, don't do that. We're talking about the Lions, man.
I can't. So I have to change how I approach it. But I don't think it will. They've been given the standard of being a playoff contender. If you put everybody on IR and you finish with 4 wins, 5 wins, that's not a playoff contender even.
But aren't we sick of just being playoff contenders? Like, we're going to back into the playoffs and get beat?
Yeah, but it's better than being the first overall pick contender.
Yeah, but also, Drew, let's be honest. The playoff contender doesn't mean you got to make the playoff. You just got to be contending for the playoff spot. To me, I don't think it will work, but I think that's what their tactic is. I think they're trying to set it up, the excuse. You know, it's sort of like telling your new girlfriend, hey, from time to time I talk to these different females. Yeah, I dated them in the past, but we're just friends right now. And sure, I spent over their house, but I didn't touch them. Okay, I feel like that's what they're doing. They're creating these already preset excuses to use. And they sold it to the Lions last year where we had injuries and we were in all those games, and had we had this person, we would have won it. And I think the Lions original brass would have bought it. But I don't think Sheila's going to buy it. And again, if you can't make the playoffs with 7 teams being now included, then shame on you.
Right. All right, moving on. Here we go. With Trey Flowers being on IR, what should fans expect from Everson Griffin? What about you, Detroit Drew?
I know whatever I say, Luke G's going to totally say the opposite. So
that's okay. Then we're all right with that.
Right? Like I'm not just out to be like the. I'm not trying to be your Joker to Batman. I'm just saying,
I'm just messing with you. But for EG, he's got a lot more responsibility now. Trey Flowers is playing actually pretty nice for the Lions, so. Now that he's going to be out for a month or so, we're going to need him to step up. And I've liked what I've seen from Romeo so far this year. So he's going to be pretty much plugged in where Trey Flowers would be playing now. And he's going to have to do everything Trey Flowers was doing and more for the Lions to be competitive. But, I mean, he's not enough to completely turn this defense around. So it's not going to be EG from the Vikings. So I'm not really expecting that of him. I just want him to get some pressure on the quarterback. Move that line back. Make the quarterback feel uncomfortable, and if he can do that, then hey, it's a start. But again, it's a lot I'd put on his plate by himself. He's not going to be able to turn this season around defensively.
They're killing me in this chat, man. What expected, Everson? Not a damn thing. That's what.
I mean, listen. Part of that is true. Part of it is true, but the reality is you should expect a lot from him because he's going to be playing right DN, and right DN is where he's had the most success and been the most effective at. And so, to me, with Trey Flowers being now, he's now the default right DN. He don't even got to learn the playbook. He just needs to go and get the quarterback. So, to me, you should expect for him to show you somebody who still got something in the tank. If he does not do that, you're going to hear Lou G go full a-hole about this. I already don't like the trade. I already felt like, listen, it's something awkward about him. But in terms of just those next 3 games, he's playing at the one position that's his strength. And so to me, if he's not performing there, you know, I'm telling you, I'm going to clown on it. And so, you know, now for the people who say don't expect nothing from him, I ain't gonna get mad at you because again, he don't change anything. That's why the trade is stupid. They should have let him get cut and then tried to offer him a deal. And if they offer him a deal and he want to come here, then good. But to give up draft capital was stupid.
I didn't like the trade, but when he's here, and he's ours now. So what I thought was he's a nice rotational piece. I really did. I thought, okay, he does add something to the defense in a rotational role, in a third down role, and looking at a 4-3 kind of a hybrid type setup instead of, you know, the 3-3-5 they've been playing. Thing is, for me though, now he has a starter's job. That's completely different. That is completely different. I think it's going to be rough on him. I don't think he has that much left in the tank to do that type of thing. That's my opinion.
Well, listen. It's only a 6th-round pick. That's all I've been told. It's only a 6th-round pick. We're gonna enjoy our 5 picks right now, okay?
Yep.
You know, because I'm telling you, I just see it where this guy, like I remember Michael Strahan. They tried to use Michael Strahan to battle the left tackle, and he didn't do well. But when they moved him to that right tackle, he became a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons that people like Warren Sapp has always been on his head is, you couldn't hack it against the best person on the field. You went up against the right tackle. There wasn't nothing special about that. And so to me, that's Everson Griffin. Everson Griffin plays better. All his best numbers and best seasons come on that right side. And if you're telling me that he's not performing there, and even if it did cost you a 6th-round pick, you essentially got nothing for nothing.
You know what I compare this trade to is when Stan Van Gundy traded for Blake Griffin, and it was a save your job kind of move, and he didn't make the playoffs. He didn't meet the requirements, and he got fired. I really think that's what Quinn and Patricia did, was brought in a pass rusher, you know, who's got a good resume, maybe not having the best season, but maybe could shake some of that rust off and get it going. Maybe he should have higher expectations if he's here to be a job shaver.
Here's another thing that this brings up, because Trey Flowers being on the IR, this pick may turn into a 5th now because of his playing time, because his playing time is going to go way up because of the injury. So
it's just a 5th-round pick. You know, this is what the fans been telling me.
Now it might be a 5th-round pick. Thank you, Mortal Films, for that one.
It's just a late pick. I mean, it's not gonna set anything. I mean, it's not like we got Jamal Agnew in the late rounds or in the 5th. It's not like we got Amani Aworiye in the 5th. It's not like we got John Pennicini in those late rounds. I mean, who needs late round talent?
Who needs any talent right now? We got 5 picks. That's not good. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question, guys. We beat that one to death, so we're good. With many fans wanting Jim Harbaugh out of U of M, should he still be a candidate for the Detroit Lions? Drew, what do you think?
No, I'm good on that one. Look, I don't understand how you can go from coaching a Super Bowl caliber team where in the NFL it's more about players, and in college it's more about the coach. How do you go from almost winning a Super Bowl to now going to Michigan and you can't beat Ohio State? You can't ever. It doesn't make sense.
Drew, he's 1-6 at home against Ohio State and Michigan State.
Oh my God,
that's brutal.
He's going to come here in our divisions that's going to sweep us because we can't perform big in big time games. So I'm going to stay social distance away from Jim Harbaugh. Let him go coach.
Social distance from Jim Harbaugh. Okay. Listen, he should most definitely still be a candidate. But Drew does make a very compelling argument that is one of the things that I've looked at, even when it comes to this idea that he's a quarterback whisperer. When is he going to develop a damn quarterback? Seriously,
we need to do that here.
Like,
if
seriously,
we move on from Stafford and all that.
Like everybody tried to say, "Oh, he developed Andrew Luck." I was like, "No, he didn't." Oh, he developed Colin Kaepernick. Man, Colin Kaepernick was like Patrick Mahomes. He had all the talent in the world around him. He just had to not mess it up. Yeah. Like, stop playing. So, no, to me, he still should be a candidate because what I'm looking for at this point is somebody who can build a program. And as much as I see some flaws in his coaching, I just look at Michigan when Michigan was like, I don't know, say Brady Holt and Rich Rod. I mean,
yep.
And he has built right, and he has built somewhat of a program there to where there's a respectability, and the players love him and play for him and respect him. He's winning recruiting classes and stuff like that. But when we go through and we look at the NFL side of it, when he was a head coach in the NFL, before he joined the San Francisco 49ers, they were, I believe, a 6-10 team. He comes in and go 13-3. So to me, and that's for all the people who said Patricia needed more time. He just needs more time. He just needs more time. This guy comes in and goes 13-3. I believe he turned around and went 11-5 the next season, or 12-4, something like that. He went to like 2 Super Bowls. I mean, like, to me, if he can build a program here, I'm cool. Bring him in, talk to him. He should still be a candidate. He's not my first choice. Because I do think sometimes he live off of his name and his family success and stuff, but he should definitely be a candidate.
I'm hurting over this whole thing because weren't we just at the point that we had this thing rebuilt and we just needed someone to get us over the hump? Now we're back to rebuilding again. We're all the way back down the mountain again, and we got to climb all the way back up. When we were at 9-7, when we were making the playoffs, not that Jim Caldwell was the answer, but what you did was destroyed this team, and now here we go again. We're all the way back down to the bottom. And if we did get a Harbaugh, he's good enough to rebuild the team. I don't think he's the guy to get us over the hump. I think we would have to fire him and then go on to someone else after him. I think that's how bad the situation is right now.
Right. Plus, I saw you. You can call me funk. Saying, how did he leave San Francisco when he left? 8-8. There was 8-8 when he left.
Yeah, in the division, he had a pretty good record over there. He really did.
I mean, in the division with Seattle balling, you had Seattle over there balling. Arizona at the time was a sneaky good team. They had their downfalls, but they was beating a lot of teams up in the division. But yeah, I'm looking for somebody who can build a program, who's got the experience. I don't want these learn on the job people no more. One thing I can say about the identity situation when it comes to Michigan, Jim Harbaugh embraced that identity building. You know, he spent a lot of time recruiting for the defense to try to get the defense better. When the offense sucked, he went and recruited a lot for the offense to be better. He wanted to build this identity, and sometimes he did. There was defensive players who got drafted high. I think before him, y'all weren't even having first round picks.
Right.
So,
I think he's done a good job rebuilding, but I think that, like I said, I don't think he's the one to get us to the Super Bowl. And I think that we had a chance to make the right decision, bring the right people in or the right coach in, and we just blew it. We absolutely blew it.
Hey, deadnews.com. The University of Michigan got their butts whooped in their house versus Michigan State. Just want to put that back out there for you guys to catch off the gap. Just want to bring y'all back into the fold. That's all.
You mean by 3 points? Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 3 points.
I'm sorry.
That's a butt whooping, man.
I mean by W to L. I mean by W to L. I mean, last time I checked, the fan base for the Lions only simply want the W or
no. I want the W because I'm thirsty for it after Patricia's destroyed this team for the last 3 years.
Yeah, but listen, look on the bright side though, Jim. On the bright side of it is this. You still get to know that for a full year, that Luke is going to be here to remind you that you suck as far as a Michigan fan. Like, I'm just going to be here for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to have it the Michigan show, but my goodness, when one team can pass deep and other team can't, that makes it a whole different ball game to me.
You stop
really
saying
does.
that.
I'm going to
stop
say
saying
it.
that. He's
I'm
a
gonna say
quarterback
it, and I'm
whisperer.
going to say it.
He's the quarterback
I
whisperer.
don't believe that either. I ain't real happy with Harbaugh either, but still. Okay, we're flying by. We're only 30 minutes in, and guess what? We are at the last question of the day.
But I got one for us that we can toss in there. Then we can get some questions from the chat.
Let's do that one first.
Well, here's the thing. This question right here was one of the ones I was just sitting up here thinking about because, basically just listen to people talk, and I'm like, would you be mad if the Lions did fire Matt Patricia but decided to keep Bob Quinn?
Yes, absolutely.
I would be pissed.
I would too.
I would be pissed because in my eyes, he should not have the responsibility of hiring another head coach. Rule number one, do not hire your buddies, your friends, or anything when it comes to business because you will get burned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't want him anywhere near. I don't think he's drafted particularly well. I know everybody's in love with him as a draft guy, but I don't think that. I really don't. You've drafted a lot of busts in the Tease Tabor and draft a long snapper. I mean, he's hit on some. I'm not saying that, but he's hit on the positions. Like for me, I want a strong defensive line. I want good linebackers. I want, a strong offensive line. Now he got Frank Ragnow. He got Taylor Decker. Taylor Decker's played really well this year, but he's been iffy, before. You got Jonah Jackson. He's played excellent. He really has. But he got Big V too, so that kind of cancels that out. But according to Quinn, Tease Tabor and the long snapper was supposed to be Caldwell's picks. Like that's what he's trying to push. What?
They
were his picks.
They are all his picks. He's the general manager. Like when you go through and you look at the 49ers, the general manager and the executive player for personnel, which you got to look at our executive player for personnel because he may have to go to. Those are the people who decide on who we're getting. And so at the end of the day, I'm just saying this guy, if the Lions make some kind of move where they keep Bob Quinn and then move on from Matt Patricia, I'm upset because to me, you're not doing yourself any favors. You need somebody who's going to be here, who can do certain things a little different, have a vision.
Hey, Luke, this is an interesting take from You Can Call Me Funk because I don't like this at all, but I'll see what you think. I'd be happier if the new GM that kept Patricia and company over Quinn keeping his job. So he wants Quinn fired and Patricia kept. Is that what I'm reading here?
Yeah. Hold on, give me a minute. I gotta
agree with that.
Give me a minute. I gotta go and huff some oxygen because I think I almost lost my breath. No, listen. Listen. They're both hot garbage. My issue is this. Quinn said that he brought this guy in because this is how he's used to drafting for. This is the first year where Quinn decided that nope, I'm going to take the players that I want versus what the head coach wants. And I think that was a mistake on his part because now it showed that there's a division between you and the head coach. But for the most part, from the very beginning, this was all the Matt Patricia show. And while Quinn has not done anything, because Caldwell was retained, he has a winning record in terms of that era. But I don't know if I'm willing to keep Patricia at all. If we keep Patricia past this season, I'm telling you right now, the field review is going to be reviewing a whole lot of other people's field. I'm talking high school, Pell, Pop
Warner. High school team you could do.
I mean, seriously, I'm going to be doing everybody else's field because it's ridiculous. And to me, you cannot do this,
My high school team is just obliterating teams, so that's
he said I didn't say earlier. Didn't. Damn, autocorrect.
That's what I was like. I was kind of. I wanted to keep that up there, so we give him credit for that.
Okay, yeah. He said that's autocorrect. That wasn't what it was. Okay, because I'm like, no, scrap the whole thing, burned it up.
Right,
burn it up,
burn it to the ground. That's what's bad though. We were so close. I really felt like we were getting closer.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, here we go again. And I felt that way during the Schwartz era too. I really did. I thought we were getting close then. We had a good defense. I thought we were trying to run the ball, which, we got Javid Best, who I thought was one of the better running backs that we had drafted.
Phenomenal. Him, Kevin Jones, man, you couldn't tell you nothing about them two. So
yeah. But what I'm saying though is I think we're so far from that now. I think we're very far away from being a contender, even in the division.
Well, Jim, there's still some people who believe in Matt Patricia. There's still some people that believe in Bob Quinn.
That's okay.
And to me, I'm not gonna knock him for believing into him. But my thing is when the sun sets and the answers are and the questions are answered, and you still believe in them, now I'm gonna start to wonder if you're insane or delusional. Either way it goes, it's not good. It's a bad mental state.
V5 Samoa, we need to win the next 6 games.
That's not happening.
2 different things.
Right? Yeah, we are. The next, I didn't feel good about us playing the Vikings before the season started. So now they go out and beat a Packers team, and the one person who killed them was who? Devin Cook. And how did he do it? Running the ball. And be out the backfield.
I still think Minnesota's trash. I have all year.
They
I said
are
that in the beginning of the year. Well, everybody else said they were good in the beginning of the year.
I thought they were going to be good. I really did. He had never had a bad defense. He had never.
And I said even at that time, I said he does now.
You did. You was one of the few to call BS on and be like, well, hey, how do you explain right now?
No, it's all right. It's all good, but you know what though? I've been watching football for a very, very long time, so it's like I see us winning. I see we could win this game. We really could, because that's how we play, and we play well in Minnesota. I don't know why we do, but we always do. We always play better in Minnesota than we do at home.
Listen, if they do win this game, you already know what's going to happen. We're going to get.
I know what's going to happen.
Some more ONG. We going to the ships, and then we're going to get some. We back, baby. I have never seen.
How do you get back when you're 3-4 and you're at 500 and it's just.
Listen, this is one of them teams where, to me, they would have to rattle off so many wins. Like he said, they would have to go like completely 6-0 in the next 6 games, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's impressive," because that's now 10.
I think we're good at stopping.
No,
I think we could be good at stopping the run if the dang offense can keep that defense off the field long enough. I think Danny Shelton Penasini can stop him. I do. I think we have a shot at that. But our offense keeps shooting ourselves in the foot, and without Kenny Gallady, I don't hold out much hope for that. They'll tire out just like last week.
Well, I think the biggest problem is like this is just me. Some of the observations that I'm seeing is, I think that our coaches and general managers are listening to the different people out there and listening to the different media outlets, because am I the only one that noticed that like Adrian Peterson has been like almost non-existent? Like, where the hell happened?
I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, I agree with that.
Like they was rotating between the two backs, and whoever's the high hand they was riding. Now they just like
they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing.
It's terrible.
Dustin Powell, love the podcast. Keep me entertained at work. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Dustin.
Hey, appreciate it.
That.
I see Ghost Gunner says, so far Patricia is repeating his first year as far as record goes. It could be that case. I hope we don't go down that road. V5, he says if we stop the run versus the Vikings, we win. Yeah, that's easier said than done.
I agree with that, but I think we have the people to do it. I do. If they don't tire out.
We should sign Sanu. Listen, people. Okay, stay with me. Okay, listen. Anything you do going forward that evolves around signing, trading, or anything like that, and the name is not Kenny Gallady, you're driving up the price on who? Kenny Gallady.
Mm-hmm.
When he's out here tweeting and putting on Instagram, it's gonna cost you. He's not playing. He like, look, I came in as a 3rd round pick. I'm balling. Y'all gonna have to, if y'all want to keep my services, pay me. And I'm being honest, the last person who pulled that move was Russell Wilson. He got his money. he got his money.
He got paid. But I think this team is just a lot of it is smoke and mirrors to me. I seen they beat Atlanta, but Atlanta beat themselves. Jacksonville's a horrible team.
Facts.
So what did we really do? We won 2 games in a row. Did you know during the Patricia era we've never won 3 games in a row?
Nope.
Not once.
And in terms of the home record, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just
7 in a row we lost.
I was wondering when Don Bird was going to come in here so he can get a little bit of this green smoke Tuesday.
Oh, here we go.
In case you didn't know, Mr. Don Bird, who predicted that the Michigan State Spartans were going to lose by a significant amount of points. In case he didn't know, I just want to bring up some dead news for him. It's well and alive for us Spartan fans, but for him, it's pretty much dead because he's trying to get through this, and he's already going through the stages of grief. Your team lost. Your team lost. The only reason it looked close is because they really just was trying to let y'all kill y'all clock. Y'all was never a threat. Y'all cornerbacks, we exposed them more than a stripper who was clearly out of her ranking. We've had our fair share. I don't know if you noticed or not, but y'all still don't have a quarterback. And the guy, Mel Tucker, the guy that you said was going to get fired before the season was over, yeah, I don't think that's happening because he got that win where? In motherfreaking Main Street. That's right. That nightmare happened to you on Halloween. I know you don't want to let it go, but we still here with you. We still here with you.
On a Lion show.
All right. I'm just saying. I told them all week. Listen, a Michigan fan can't say nothing to me for the rest of the year. All I heard is how
I can say it. I can because I didn't say nothing about it in the first place.
Yeah, but listen, all I heard was how y'all lost to Rutgers. Rutgers was giving Maryland a run for the money.
Yeah.
And they got Tua's little brother over there balling. So I'm just saying. Yes
on that question there. Okay. Just so we're clear.
Did you guys vote? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. I feel that it's disrespectful not to not vote, in my opinion. Right. Being an African American, I have family members who I was very fortunate to have conversations with that were getting hit with those water hoses and tear gases to get that right. So for me, it's a way of me honoring my ancestors and my family members. So yes, I absolutely voted.
Yep. Yeah, it's a big deal, guys, and there was a lot of bad stuff that happened to a lot of good people for that right to vote, and so take it seriously, guys. If you haven't, I think it's over now, right, Luke? 8:42.
Well, you still get
about everywhere.
Well, I think except for like Pacific, I think they still get to like 7 or let me see. We are at 8 Eastern, so that's 3 hours behind us. 5. They got a few hours on the Pacific time, right?
Yep. Got about 2 hours and 20 some minutes.
Now, Don Burr says I vote for Matt Patricia to be fired. Yeah, we agree on that vote.
We do agree on that vote.
I've been saying this since the first. Listen, that loss to the Jets started the whole process for me. Mm-hmm. Then we beat the Patriots. I said, okay, I'm gonna give you a 1-off. But then we lost to some other bums. Then the next year came. He goes out and that opening, he ties against the Cardinals. And I'm like, how? New head coach, rookie quarterback, how are we tying with them?
God, and then reminds me of the Millen era, actually.
Dude, we lose to the Washington football team. I almost called them their old name. The Washington football team with Dwayne Haskins at the quarterback.
He says it's only 3:43 there in Hawaii. I'm like, holy cow, man.
Oh, smack. Yeah, see, I forget, what time are they on? 3:43? What is that?
No idea. Hey, Philippines on demand. All right. How you doing, man? Yeah, he rocks with me on the other
show. I see.
Fire them
3:43. Listen, I'm with you. Listen, go ahead and start dumping y'all questions in the chat so we can address
one more
anything.
To go to right now. Yeah. So we're going to get to that one. Are you happy with what the Lions did at the trade deadline, Luke?
Let the church say yes.
Yeah,
yes. Amen.
Me too.
Listen, The fact that they did nothing is what they should have did in the first place. You don't have the right to be on the hot seat and almost out with 1 foot out the door or 1 foot in and get to still make big time decisions and moves. If anything, they should have been sellers. And that should have came down from the ownership themselves to tell them, hey, get this person out of here. I want draft capital. So start moving people so I can get draft capital. And when he goes, yeah, but we're trying to win this year. Well, listen, that's for you to figure out. You've been here long enough to figure that out. But in the meantime, I need draft capital. Yep. And I think that's what they should have did. So the fact that they did nothing, I am more than happy with that.
I think it's a stalemate is what I think. And I think it serves us because we only have 5 draft picks. So, oh God, this is funny.
It's terrible. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. Let me see. Oh my God!
5 Samoa says,
come get to Vi and take him back.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, Luke. What do you think about Gallady Tavai? I know he's playing out of position. At least I think so.
Yes, he is. About him? The problem is he's playing out of position. That's one, and two, he's taking a lot of bad angles. When I first did film study on him, which got my channel banned, him and Will Harris, when I was doing the live film study during the draft, that got me banned. Yeah, big mistake on my part. But what it was in those games, I saw where he was taking beautiful angles. And I was like, even if he was not as fast, he took the right angle to cut the person off. Now he's not doing that. And now you see another thing where they're not even keeping gap integrity. When I watch people like Jared Davis, he'll smash into a gap knowing that he can't make the play. But that was the play to be made, to force it back into somewhere else. Gallady Tavai, to me, seems to be in his head. And he's thinking a whole lot. You can see him out there doing a whole lot more moving versus just reacting. And I think that's because they put more on him to call the plays. You know, like that, oh, you're going to be the guy that signals the defensive play calling. Well, shame on you. You played yourself. I think he's out of position. I think he needs to be back into a position where he's allowed to have a minimum role in terms of his responsibility, but still be able to react off his instincts. And right now, they're not doing that.
Right. There was an old wrestler called Hands of Stone, Ron Garvin. Now this is Gallady Tavai, Feet of Stone. I have coined him because he's so slow. Oh, I caught that
on your show. I caught that on your show where you talk about the Feet of Stone, and I bust out laughing. I was like, damn. But we knew that he wasn't going to be fast, but he takes angles, and he's not doing it no more. Some of the questions that's come up in the chat is Devin99. You think if we get a new regime before the draft, we're going to make some moves for picks on draft night or before the draft night? No. Generally, what happens when you get a new general manager, they come in and evaluate everything on who to stay, who's going to go. They don't do a lot of moves. The last time I see something like that where it benefited them was Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson essentially told Jerry Jones that, look, I need the biggest, baddest piece you got so I can get all the pieces that I need to win. And he delivered on it. He ended up taking that one trade of Herschel Walker and landing Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. Yep. And then he turned around and went out and said, anybody that y'all think is a bad apple, I love him. He brought in a Charles Haley. He brought in a Deion Sanders. He brought in Jerry Ball and some of these other people that people were trying to say were bad apples or they couldn't play no more and stuff like that. So, no, I don't expect to see them doing that at all.
Okay. All right. I don't see any other ones at this point. If
let
you
me
see one, let me know, because I'm terrible at this, as you know.
Listen, we get better as time go on. We get better.
Well, you would think.
Let's see. Let me see. We got. Let me see what we got right here. We got Patricia. Yeah, Patricia knows he's gone. I think he knows he's gone too.
Question for us.
I think he knows he's gone too.
Projected to drop next year. Do you think we sign Kenny Gallady?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. At this point, if you don't sign him, it's just another. It's another mistake on your part as the organization if you don't.
Yeah,
because
no, I completely disagree with that. I can't see paying. I'm sorry. I know he's homegrown. I know he's a really good player. He doesn't get enough separation for me. That's just my take. And also, you can't sit here and pay a wide receiver that much money. We have to start building our defensive line. We have to start building I'm serious. We have to start building our linebacking core.
Listen,
I want a stout defense.
I
You
agree.
can't do that by paying a wide receiver that much money.
I agree, but I have talked to some NFL players, and I have talked to some people who have talked to some NFL players who talked about it. Even when I talked to Quincy yesterday, Quincy was talking to me. We had a very good conversation about some stuff, and I'm telling you, players pay attention to that.
They do. I'm not disagreeing.
When you're not paying your homegrown talent, they pay attention to that, and it creates a bad taste in the mouth. It creates a bad atmosphere in the locker room. And to me, if you let Kenny Gallady, who is coming here and completely outperform a third-round pick and definitely outperform a third-round pick's contract, and you don't pay him, people are going to be looking at him and saying, why would I want to go there? They don't even pay their people.
Right. No, totally agree with you. But it's a whole thing of how the whole organization treats people. It's the outside presentation of your organization. I know the Red Wings were called a first-class organization. They paid their people even when they were on strike. I mean, their whole organization paid everybody, concessions, everything.
Yeah. I mean, and you see what Ryder says. Won't do that. You see what Ryder says. Ryder says, why does Bob Quinn needs to be such a cheap SOB? Pay the man; he's earned it. I mean,
do you think it's out of his hands though now?
And it should be. The sad part is it should be. But what should be happening is
too. I think they're going to wait for the new GM to do all this stuff.
Well, I think they missed a huge opportunity. Alexander Kumar says, "Do you want us to trade KJ?" Well, it's a little too late now. It's too late,
but we can't. I think Devin 99. I think we need a GM who's not afraid to take chances on a guy like AB or Le'Veon Bell. Do you guys agree?
No,
maybe not on those players, but I do agree that you should take a chance on somebody that has a little bit of a history, that maybe they have a little bit, like a Sue or somebody like that, that just is so intense and stuff like that. They shy away from a lot of players, and I think I think we need to get them, but we're nowhere near that in our rebuild process.
Right. When I talk about a bad guy for the Lions, I talk about the guys who do things on the field. Would you do off the field? If you're not available to us, there's no point in having you. But I'm talking about the guy who do things on the field. Now, the reason Lawrence Taylor stayed in New York Giants so long is because he was so phenomenal at what he did. Whatever he did off the field, you forgave. And so if you give me a talent like that, I might be like, okay, cool. But Antonio Brown has been very good at dividing the room. And Le'Veon Bell has shown that he's selfish. And to me, I think those players believe that they have arrived. Like, they believe that they've made it. And so to me, I don't want people who believe that they made it. I want somebody who's hungry, who wants to keep going, who's got that dog in them and still trying to prove themselves.
Yep. I agree with that too. Do you think the Fords will let the season play out before making a decision on Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia? Yes, I do. I don't see them firing them in season anymore.
And they should. They should let the season play out before they fire them. Listen. V5, there's a strong amount of people who were saying give Matt Patricia and them a third year. And I was like, no. And I said this. I said to me, I said Bob Quinn signed his death certificate the moment he did not honor to the standard he created. When he said 97 wasn't good enough, trust me, every Lion fan heard hope. Every Lion fan heard the possibility that, listen, we are no longer just going to accept mediocrity. And then his guy coming in and goes 6-10, and you don't fire him. He wins 3 games the next year. You don't fire him.
Yep,
so agree. At this point, you have already signed, sealed, and delivered your own fate. But you can't do it until the end of the season because guess what? There's nobody that you're going to bring in right now to replace him. You're not going to bring in anybody now to replace him.
Yep. The Lions have a history of not treating their star players well. They use them, toss them out like an old shirt. Players around the league see this and want no part of it. I totally agree with you on this, but also it's a deeper issue than that. It's wanting to get $1 million from Calvin Johnson when he's leaving the team. It's just stupid little things that, I think they're just a little too petty with some things, and I think players around the league see that. What do you see there, Luke?
I feel like business is business. It's not personal. Business is business.
I disagree when it comes to players sometimes, because I think that business is business, and I totally get that. But like I said, there's one organization in Detroit that treats their players well, and it's called Hockey Town. And everybody that's been there, star players, and everybody always comments on how wonderful that organization is, and players want to come there. Now, but I also look on the other hand, I see the Lions, and there's not very many people that want to come here.
Yeah, but that's a long history of other things and other situations and some of the things that's happened. Believe it or not, during all that losing season and stuff, a lot of players wanted to come here because they were treated like royalty for being average players. But the reality is this. I look at it like this. The way that I look at it, if I contract somebody to cut my grass and they show up and they just cut half of it every single time, you cannot get mad when I cancel my contract with you and ask for my money back. This is business. This the same thing with them. They can look at it and be like, oh, you asked for this money back. I gave you all this. I gave you this. I gave you that. And we paid you. You didn't honor the rest of your contract. See, the problem is this. I'm going to tell you what players need to do, in my opinion, to really hold a lot of these teams to the fire. Sign shorter contracts. That's it.
True.
Don't do this 5, 6, 7 year crap. Don't do that. Do shorter contracts and say that's why people hate Daryl Reeves. Daryl Reeves is going there and telling you, I want a 2-year deal because I'm going to outplay that. Sign shorter deals and you won't have these problems. But to me, that's so minute to the reality of what needs to happen. It's business. Everything is a business. I can't just always walk up into a McDonald's or Burger King.
Yeah, but don't you have to say like a Burger King or something like that? They're going to comp a meal if something went wrong. You know what I'm saying? Don't you think that something went wrong when the Lions couldn't win with someone like Calvin Johnson?
Yeah, what went
Barry
wrong?
Sanders.
What went wrong is they
couldn't build a team around those people.
You couldn't do it, and the other issue is the moment that they had coaches, the Lions under Wayne Fonts were doing things right, but the moment that he started having some downtime because of different situations, they chipped on him. Fine, okay, cool. You go to Bobby Ross, mistake, and then it just become a mistake after a mistake after a mistake after a mistake. And so to me, what you're starting to see is this pattern where they have these talents, but they're not doing them right. There are people in the NBA who have played for lights out, but guess what? They never put the right people in place to get other people above the hump. And so to me, that falls on the ownership and the decision makers of hiring some of the people. But the truth is this: we're one hire. Like I know everybody think I'm tripping when I say this. We are one hire away from a Super Bowl. One hire.
Wow. And who is that one hire? I'll put you on the spot. Who do you think that one hire is?
I think it's David Shaw.
Ooh, okay.
I think if you look at Stanford, Stanford has beat some good teams. Stanford has some bowl games they didn't win, but it's Stanford. Everybody not getting it. You can't Stanford not just going out getting you because you're a good athlete. You got to have a certain GPA.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
Like, and he's still taking minimum people and getting the most out of them. Like, seriously, he's getting first round picks in the league. Stanford wasn't doing that.
No,
that was not what Stanford was about. To me, we just need the right head coach. The right head coach. I look at the Rams. The Rams be up and down.
But I think we need the right general manager too, because we're not building this team correctly, at least in my opinion.
True, but the question now becomes, what kind of general manager do you want? Do you want the players guy, or do you want the experienced guy who's going to be working behind the scenes to do it? Because I can look at a team like the Cardinals, who I love their general manager. He gets all the talent. It's the coaches who are not utilizing the talent. So to me, I thought to go back and look, and I say, what makes some of these teams who are dynasties look so good? When you go through and you look at the Dallas Cowboys when they became a dynasty, guess what they had in common with the New England Patriots? Their head coach was the general manager. And while Jerry Jones would like to think that he's the general manager, Jerry Jones basically took who this head coach took. And when Jerry Jones wasn't getting no credit, his pride got in the way and he fired him. And they won that one with Barry Switzer. And after that, they hit the toilet. Yep, the same thing happened The same thing happened when he brought in Bill Parcells to rebuild their program, and Bill Parcells rebuilt the program back up to respectability, and then Jerry wanted the credit and tossed them out. I just know that we are one hire away from getting it right.
God, I hope so. Ramon, the new age, is tripping. Look at this. Tavai keeps his hair so long, or a hair long, so he looks like he runs faster than he actually does.
Right. He want the wind to blow. Like, look, I'm going quick. I'm going quick. Yeah, it's Jelani Tavai. Jelani Tavai's biggest problem is he's out of position. They're using him wrong. They're using him in ways that's not to his strength. You just can't do it. So, I'm not with it.
Yeah, writer is saying, I've been saying that. I don't think it's one hire, but we are a few play callers away from being great.
See, I still think that it's one hire, because guess what? You have had some teams with great GMs still not win, right?
True.
Like, they've had all the talent in the world, still not win.
True.
But I've seen teams with great head coaches and terrible GMs still win.
There
I've
we
seen
go. So who's the right GM? Devin99 says.
To me, like I said, you got to ask yourself, what do you want your image to be? If you want to bring somebody in that changes the image to where players will say, hey, I'll go there for this person. It's Peyton Manning. If you want somebody who's going to be like, hey, nobody knows who I am, but I build rosters, I'm probably going to go with Wolf. I like
Wolf.
I like Elliott Wolf too.
I do. He's in Cleveland right now, isn't he?
Yep, and he is not afraid to pull a trade. He'll trade for whatever, and he'll sign whatever. He wants to win.
I do like him. I do like him a lot, actually, and I think that would be a really good hire for us. He has a pedigree with his dad in Green Bay, and he built that team. Long time. And you know what? Being a son of somebody doesn't make you, that wonderful, whatever.
No,
but I think he's done enough on his own, to merit consideration at least.
Now, Philippines on Demand says, no way, not one hire. I respect your thoughts, but I can't agree with this one hire. If you go back to the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Go back to them.
Oh yeah, good example.
They brought in Andy Reid, and everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changed. Yep. Go back to the Rams. The Rams was underneath Jeff Fisher was killing this team.
We brought in Matt Patricia, and everything changed.
Everything changed. One hire changes everything.
It went the wrong way.
It went the absolute wrong way. And all I'm pointing out to you is this: if you go through and you look at some of the teams, like go through Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay before Tony Dungy.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Go to the Colts. The Colts was doing their thing with Peyton Manning and stuff, and then they moved on from their head coach, and Tony Dungy comes in and built another program.
But if you're looking at head coaches, you also got to look at GMs like Lynch in San Francisco.
Yeah, but Lynch, okay, this gonna shock you. Lynch,
it might.
Lynch is feeding off of Martin Mayhew.
Yeah, that's probably true. I would.
Martin Mayhew has been John Lynch has said many times that he was so happy that he has a chance to have Martin Mayhew on his team. Martin Mayhew even admitted. Go ahead.
I think he has a lot to do with it too, though. I really do. He's been a winner at whatever he does. And
he knows how to listen and get out of the way. He knows how to be like, okay, like give me something I can work with, and he can see vision. He can see the vision of something. So
absolutely. Right or wrong says no. I mean, like a good OC who can use our players right. Ooh,
well, you get that. You get that if you get the right head coach.
I promise you that. That's what you have to get. But you have to get somebody you have to get an identity in Detroit. For me, this is just the way I think about it. I know this is the new NFL and we're throwing the ball all over the field and everything, but I want a stout defense and a really good running game because I think that matters. And I think that's like the hard hat way to do it. Like the Pistons did, get a little rough, get a little nasty. You know what I'm saying? I'm missing Ndamukong Suh. I'll tell you that right now.
We all do. The Lions do.
Miss that intensity. I actually, Vandenbosch, another guy that I thought was extremely intense and that brought a winning attitude to this team. I thought Jim Schwartz did a good job, and was it Martin Mayhew at the time? I thought they did a good job of bringing talent to this team. I thought they did a good job on the defensive line. Right. I just don't think that it all worked out the way we wanted it to, but it was very, very, I thought we were very close at that time. I really did.
Yeah, and like I said, it's one of the things where it just takes one hire. I swear that's all it takes is one hire from getting to the Super Bowl. That's all it takes. But like when you look at Seattle, when they hired Pete Carroll, and get this, y'all not gonna believe this. I wanted Pete Carroll fired. I did. Pete Carroll was there for a long time, and Pete Carroll literally had fired his entire coaching staff all 3 seasons.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, everybody.
I remember that.
He was firing people left and right, but he was trying to get it right. They stayed with it, and we ended up getting a Super Bowl because of it. Great. Now he got the Super Bowl. I go back, and mind you, not only did he get the Super Bowl, he got to another one. And so to me, I'm looking for that. I want somebody who can build a program.
How did he do it, though? He did it through an unconventional means of playing football. He did it with bigger corners. He did it with people that you didn't really expect to be as dynamic as they were because they fit into that system. The defense was the draft picks were laughed at. Third round for the quarterback. I mean, there was a lot of things to that he did right that no one else thought he was doing right.
But the biggest thing he did right? That's the biggest thing he did right that I give him credit to, even when I wanted him fired. The biggest thing, and that was a guy who was still somewhat winning over there in Seattle that I wanted fired, FYI. But the biggest thing he did right was he appealed to the belief of the player. When everybody said that this player wasn't good and wouldn't be good, he said, nope, yes, they were. He went out, paid all. He went out. They went and got Matt Flynn and drafted Russell Wilson and put Russell Wilson in preseason. And he said, well, Matt, it's been great. It's been great.
Bye.
He was willing to appeal to the player's ego to get everything out of them. When people said Bruce Irvin should have been taken in the first round, he said, I'm gonna show you. When people said, oh, you're gonna take Tyler Lockett, this little short receivers, once you get some big receivers, I'm going to show you. He appealed to him.
Because Russell Wilson was an undersized quarterback too. Small hands.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to be anything in the NFL because he couldn't see over the offensive line. This is the worst pick, whatever. Seriously, even in the third round, they were calling that a bad pick. Mel Kiper.
Right. I mean, even when you go through and look at Richard Sherman, what they said about Richard Sherman.
Yeah, 5th round, by the way.
He was, but you know what? Don't worry about it. Those late picks don't matter, Jim.
I had to do it. You knew I was going to.
But Richard Sherman, another guy that he bought into. So that's why when I say we're one hire away, I'm telling you we're one. If the Lions would have signed Bruce Arians, and were able to get, because Bruce Arians knows how to build a program. He knows how to build a program.
Yeah.
He
does.
He is this dude was calling Tom Brady out in the media. He played like crap, and I told him that. I'm like, really, Bruce? Yeah, if he don't play better, I'm going to bench him. Really, Bruce? This how you feel?
Mm-hmm.
He tried to tell
here. I love that attitude. We had this question a long time ago. What do you think about Louis Riddick as a GM? I was waiting to try to get done with this conversation to get you.
I'm not with it.
No, I'm not.
I'm not with it. I get it. You talking about the scout analyst Louis Riddick?
Yeah. He was a former GM though, so he's actually but
I know.
He's an analyst right now for I think.
Who was Louis Riddick's best draft pick?
Oh God, don't ask me because right now.
And the sad part is if I do my research on these different candidates, my problem with Louis Riddick is I feel like the right head coach can go in there and tell him, "Shut up, we're taking this player." I don't want that. I need nobody is getting excited about Detroit because we got Louis Riddick. That's my whole thing. I need somebody.
No.
I need somebody to get excited.
I see, and the problem is with this, and I don't see it as severely as bad as Matt Millen, but I do see a little bit of Matt Millen there. It's been an analyst. It's been, and all this, but he's been a GM. That's the only difference there. But I'm good.
I'm not. I'm good on Louis Riddick. I'm good. Me too. I can, like I said, Louis Riddick or Elliot Wolf. I mean, really?
Yeah, this is a debate. But that's the thing. We never go out and get the people that we should.
Well, if I said one hire away, if you get let's say you hire the most dope general manager, I guarantee you he's going to hire the most dope head coach. And so if you do that one hire fixed everything.
Yeah. We're talking about Everson Griffin again. Alexander Kimura says, I can't wait to see EG. I kind of agree with Don Burr on this one. I liked EG from 5 years ago, and he tore the Lions up. But it's not the same player, guys. I mean, I don't expect the same play out there. I think he's lost a step. I think he's lost a few steps.
I also saw a comment that says, expect to see Byron Leftwich's name come up. The Lions by not dare.
No.
They by not dare. Byron Leftwich.
I like Eric Bieniemy, though. I do like Eric Bieniemy, although he's a name that it could be Andy Reid's influence there, but I still think he calls a lot of his own plays and does a lot of his own thing. But
could be. What does he have a history of building a program?
No, but he's a coach. I mean, as a coach, I'm not talking about GM. I'm talking about
no. I'm talking about the coach. Does he have a history of building a program?
Well, how's he going to build the program when you got to have a GM do that?
No,
the GM's the one that builds the program.
No, the players and the head coach build the players and the players build culture according to Benny Blaze, and the coach builds the program.
Yeah, I disagree with that 100%. And the reason I do is because you have to draft those people and you have to bring those people in. And so if you're building a culture, it depends on what the players that you're getting, and the general manager does that. The coach can create a culture with the players that he has. But the general manager is responsible for the identity because he's the one getting the players. So if we're going to be a big offensive line like the Hogs of Washington a long time ago, or Dallas had a pretty good offensive line for a while, it's up to the GM to get those players. So that's who's creating the identity, in my opinion.
Yeah, Bill Parcells will tell you to hold this beer. Who was his general manager?
Yeah. Well, no, I that's fine if you're getting somebody that's going to do both jobs. That's a big job if you're doing both. But what do you think about signing Mohamed Sanu? Oh, go ahead. We'll get to that after you get done.
I was just saying I do get your point though. That it has to do it. I just know that there has to be somebody that has a history of building a program. In other words, like that has an identity, and he doesn't have enough experience to have our job here. Okay. We're only taking experienced candidates. But go ahead.
So should we sign Mohamed Sanu?
No.
I don't care.
No.
To be honest, we have Cephas. I don't think we need another wide receiver, in my personal opinion. We've got Hall. We've got Danny Amendola for $6 million.
Right. $6 million. $6 million.
We still have Marvin Jones, who can be a 1. Cephas, who could be a 2. And I think you got your 3 and 4 with Hall and Amendola. I don't see why we sign him. We could. I mean, it's fine with me. I don't care, but you're just wasting more money. But that would be just for the end of the year. I think it would be a 1-year deal or rest of the year type of deal. What's up, Marcus Willis? Says, what's up, fellas? All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap the show up tonight. I'm going to give my final thoughts, and then I'm going to go to Luke to give his. All right. Mine tonight is I appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate all the questions and everything. I hope we answered them all. For me, I just want this Lions team to go back to their roots. I mean, the hard hat, the go to work like the Pistons did, that type of thing. We don't necessarily need to be the bad boys, but I do want to see some fire from that defense. I want to see, the offensive line pushing people around, and that type of thing. I think we should be run first, and I think we should be defense first, a ferocious defense and a strong running game. And, that's how I would build it if I was, and that would be my identity for the Lions. I think we need to build our own identity instead of like importing an identity from somewhere else, because it doesn't work very well. So that's kind of my thoughts for tonight. Everybody, I hope you voted. I hope you had a safe and happy voting day. And like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you. What do you got for final thoughts, Luke?
Hey, first of all, I appreciate Detroit Drew for coming through the building and have a little fun with us and chatting it up. Shout out to all my DSA brothers and sisters, because we have both. we have both. And appreciate you for coming in here. As always, like I said, if you have not voted, I understand. That's your right. If you have voted, awesome. Pat yourself on the back. Today's positive quote comes really from Jim. Jim kind of inspired me at the last minute, and it basically boils down to this: fear is an illusion. That's right. Let me try this again. Fear is an illusion. The only thing fear does is give you a cautionary tale of be careful. It never tells you to stop. It never tells you to give up. It never tells you not to try. It is a simple illusion that is there to give you a caution. But my question is when do you break through? When do you accept what the reality is and charge forward to do what you was charged to do in the first place? When do you take the next step to simply just look at fear and say, hey, I know you there, but in the meantime, I'll catch you when I get back because I got something to do. Fear is the direct idea of your body's way of giving you pause. The problem with that is you was never meant to be left on pause. You have to play on. Fast forward. And I always tell people, the worst thing that fear does to you is allow you to have a sort of unhuman-like abnormality in the back of your head with eyes, because you're so busy looking behind you, you can't see where you're going. It is time to tell fear that it was fun. It was great knowing you. But at the end of the day, I don't need you to be cautious. I can see what's in front of me. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you hit that like, subscribe button. Get ready tomorrow. It should be dropping about 1 p.m. Eastern on my man Lions on the Proud channel with my man Kurt Steele as they talk some Detroit Lion lunchtime football talk. You do not want to miss it. It is a very good time where you can go into the chat, talk it up with them, and they'll respond. And if you have not hit all those likes on the video and the comment and stuff, please do so right now. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research.